What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Naynay. I know I've been MIA, but I'm still here. All right, I know. Stop yelling at me. I know. I am so self-critical. I know, but to be honest with you, I gave myself a break to reflect, to also focus on the podcast because we got Tasno's podcast, and hey, you guys got to check it out. And of course, I have my other content, right? I have TikTok and Patreon and every other platform. So if you're not seeing me, hey, find me, bro. Find me. So it just sparked in my head because I was like, bro, this is some deep stuff, right? I remember being in college and I was so lost. I didn't know whether or not I wanted to become a fighter or a finance professional because I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life. So I would really struggle going to the gym and be like, what the fish am I going to do, right? And for the next few weeks, I will continue to talk about 10 different lessons. Again, I know, right? 10 different lessons in MMA that school didn't teach me. Okay? I went to college and I understand. I struggled through those years. But there were lessons that I really just learned in MMA that I wish school would have taught me. But hey, I'm not saying anything. Like, people could continue to go to school. Good for you. I went to school. Helped me eventually pay some bills. But this is more so the real stuff that happens outside of school and in MMA. I'm going to go by twos because I think it makes sense for me, all right? So the first lesson that I learned in MMA that school didn't teach me is that, do you remember hearing anybody say, fake it till you make it? I think I remember it was one of my professors in communications class, and she was like, just fake it till you make it, because I had a lot of public speaking anxiety. And I don't know why she would say that. And the thing is about faking it till you're making it is that you start believing that lie eventually. You start being somebody that you are not. And so when I think of fake it till you make it in school, you may get away with it because social media nowadays, it's so good and it's so easy, bro, to just post something online with a smile, even though you're hurting inside, even though you are screaming your lungs out to escape and allow your feelings to come out. But you can't because social media likes, because of the views. And I hate that shit. Like, it really pisses me off, especially not being real to me and being vulnerable and being my authentic self, because that gets exhausting. It gets really exhausting not being able to be who we are, who we really are. And so I learned that in school. I learned that it was okay to fake it till you make it, to the point that when I was in college, I even started wearing contacts, colored contacts, so I wouldn't be who I really am, not with my natural eyes. And there was at some point in my speech classes that I would wear a hat because I didn't want people to see my eyes. And one of the suggestions from my professor was like, hey, just look at their nose, look at their forehead, whatever. And I was so scared to look at people right in the eyes because I would either want to cry, I would have an anxiety attack, and that shit wasn't nice. So that concept of fake it till you make it is BS, honestly. Because from one thing that MMA taught me is that you can fake who you are, especially in the cage. You step into that cage, there's no faking that you don't have the right timing. There's no faking that you got no cardio. There's no faking that you can't control your emotions. You can tell a lot about a fighter by just looking at their fight and watching how they fight. One of the things that I remember Taz, that he used to tell me when I used to train with him, he used to say, I know you're fighting angry. And he used to piss me off so much because he was right. I used to fight very angry and I used to want to knock his head out and choke him out. But the way that I was holding him, it was with so much anxiety and rage. But I used to lose control in myself. And so MMA exposed me in sparring in my rounds. And I couldn't fake that. There was no faking bullshit. Like, there was no time to fake it. And that's one of the things that I can honestly say that with confidence is that MMA will expose you, especially in the cage, in a situation where people are watching, or even just against your training partners. Like, you can say all you want in a post, in a social media post, but the reality is, dude, is that once you go against somebody that knows more than you, or somebody that has more skills than you, and really knows who they are, and are very confident in who they are, they will see that. And it's not so hard to see people's BS, especially if you haven't been a bullshitter yourself. Like, I can honestly say that because I've been there. I've been in that position that I had to fake it till I make it. And that's not right. It feels wrong. And I do remember my first fight because I was also fighting with a lot of anxiety back in the day. That's been like already over 6-7 years, I think. It's been a long ass time, I know. But at the time, I had a lot of issues going on, more than what I usually have. But no, I really did fight that way. And it got to me. And I didn't want to live like that anymore. So I had to remove those contacts. I had to be exactly who I am now and just accept it. Because guess what? If I accept who I am, the right people are going to come into my life. And that's what's been happening lately. I am who I am. And the ones that don't like it, that's okay, because I don't have to be around them. They don't have to be around me. And we don't have to talk, and that's fine. But the ones that are meant to be in my life, they will be there. So that brings me up to the second lesson. That ego that I had to fake it, right? It was so easy to just be egotistical and say, oh, I got this. And I could be in college acting like nothing ever happened. That ego that would say, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna pretend that I have this, but I really don't. That my parents are okay, but they're really not. That my family is okay, and then we're a happy, joyous family around Christmas and holidays. But that's not really true. Because that really does get to us, right? At least for me, my ego did get me hurt in MMA. And that's what it taught me, to not be egotistical. Because the more I pretended to not be who I am, the more I pretended to be somebody that I was not, and have that ego like I'm better than somebody just because of status, because of my belt, the more I felt like my head was getting bigger, the more I got humbled. And so this is where, again, you can't fake it. You can't have that ego, because it will always get you hurt. Think about it. At least for me, it's been 10 years in MMA. It doesn't mean that I am the shit. It doesn't mean that I know everything, because those that know everything know nothing. Okay? You can't know everything, and that's why life is life, and it's supposed to teach us lessons. But at least for me, I realized how much of an ego I developed growing up, because that's all I saw. My surroundings had a lot of ego. The people that I used to work with had a lot of ego, and that's what I got used to, and that's toxic. And at some point, I met a lot of toxic people that were okay with that, and they were enablers. But that's the life that I chose to live, because that's what I was used to. But the moment that I started removing myself from that environment, and I became more open to just say things how they were at the gym, and I got humbled a lot of times, getting beat up in sparring, getting beat up in grappling, getting submitted a lot of times, getting taken down. And remembering Taz, he used to push me down and just freaking beat me up and say, hey, get up. And not just him, but I'm also talking about my coaches that used to really expose me in sparring. And it's like, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't like, oh, we want to show her that she sucks. Like, it has nothing to do with that. It was the fact that I was also projecting. my emotions were like, well, I am feeling a little better than people, or I feel a little bit more egotistical, they're gonna freaking humble me. And that was when I also lost my fight. After I earned my black belt, I really thought that I had it. I thought that in that second fight that I was gonna take her. And even though I lasted the 3 rounds, there was no knockouts, no submissions, I wasn't good enough. And that's because I got caught up in my head. See, we can't get overconfident because MMA will expose us. It will tell us who we really are without even saying anything. So, for sure, what I can honestly say that school didn't teach me, maybe we can get away with faking success, right? On social media as well. Maybe we can get away with being egotistical and putting others down. Maybe we can get away with that. But in MMA, you cannot, because you will be exposed no matter